Welcome back to the Escape Case, ladies and gentlemen. Week 6 recap. We went 11-3. I got 3 games wrong, 11 games right. The 3 I got wrong, I got the Titans over the Colts. Titans lost. I had them winning 24-20. They lost 20-17, so touchdown away right there. I got I had the Broncos over the Chargers. The Chargers won here. And then I also had the Panthers, my upset Panthers over the Falcons. The Panthers lost this one. So that brings the overall record of 58-34, win percentage, correctness percentage of 63%. Now, before we go into week 7, let's look at the 2 teams on bye weeks, the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. So we have 15 matchups for week 7. So let's go ahead and get to it. Here comes the... we're going to start off with a couple of injury-riddled teams. The Broncos at the Saints. The Saints have the Broncos have won 5 of the last 6 matchups in this matchup. And the last time they played, the Broncos actually the Broncos lost. So that means the Broncos have beat the Saints the previous 5 times before that, many times. We have the Broncos have Pat Surtain in concussion protocol. Same for the top receiver of the Saints, Chris Olave, is also in concussion protocol. Look for Spencer Rattler to maybe start again, rookie quarterback out of South Carolina. And this is the game the Saints need. They're at home. They're currently lost 4 in a row. They're 2-4, and they're at the bottom of the NFC South, along with the Carolina Panthers, and they want to get themselves out of that hole. As for the Broncos, coming off of a loss at home, I think they come into New Orleans, and I think New Orleans, after giving up almost 600 yards of total offense at home last week, the defense shows up this game. I would believe so. Also note that Taysom Hill is nursing a rib injury, and he may be probable to return for this game, which will give the Saints a huge boost in order to try to win. Without him, it's going to be very hard for them to prevail here at home. But I can see them pulling it off here. I think the Saints will beat the Broncos at home, 20-17. Moving on now, Patriots at the Jaguars. This is on the Sunday London matchup. I don't see how the Jaguars keep bagging so many games in London. I don't know if there's a lot of Jaguars fans over there, or it's just a short flight from Fort Lauderdale or Jacksonville. But we'll stick to the predictions. The Patriots too are prone to being in London. Both teams only have 1 win on the season. The Patriots have beat the Jaguars in 9 of their last 10. One of those including an AFC Championship game back in 2017 season. I think the Jaguars here have a fair and even matchup. The Patriots started their rookie quarterback Drake May last week, threw for 3 touchdown passes, looked pretty decent. This is where the Patriots could take advantage of the Jaguars. But I do see, although their running defense is also pretty vulnerable, but I just think the Jaguars here are able to muster off a win, keep some steam off their head coach, and just get something positive moving forward for this organization as a whole. As the Jaguars' backup is Mac Jones. It would be crazy to see a scenario if Trevor Lawrence goes down or plays so bad that they put Mac Jones in to play his former team. But I don't think that happens. I think the Jaguars pulled this one off 23-20 in London. Seahawks at Falcons. The Falcons at home here have won last week on the road against Carolina. Their running game ran for over 200 yards. I think that's what they're going to look to establish here against Seattle, who's struggled to defend the run the last 3 games, currently on a 3-game losing streak. DK Metcalf, they've had some unfortunate turnovers. Geno Smith's thrown some interceptions. They need to get it together here and have to win it in order to stay above 500. But on the road against the Falcons team, who's starting to emerge, defense has been solid year-round. Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons, Matt Judon, and then you have AJ Terrell as well in that secondary. And then you have the Seahawks defense, who started well and now has been kind of like fluttering. So now you have the Falcons at home with a clicking offense with Kirk Cousins, Drake London, that running game, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, and Ray McLeod. I think we see some points scored here, as the Seahawks will kind of have to pull out the stops, but I don't think they get enough stops on defense on this Falcons team. So I see the Falcons winning here 38-30 at home over the Seahawks. Moving on now, Titans at the Bills. The Bills edged off a win last week on Monday Night Football against the Jets. Crazy ending, a lot of missed field goals, a lot of penalties, but they got it done. And I think that speaks to this kind of winning attitude that this team actually has. Now they come at home against a struggling Titans team, couldn't get the ball into their top receivers' hands last week. Still a struggling sophomore quarterback now. It's getting a little ugly there. I think on the road here, it's very tough to play a Buffalo team who's clicking on all cylinders. James Cook may be out still, but Ray Davis, rookie from Kentucky, had great production last game he started against the Jets, so I can expect that to continue. The Bills also just acquired Amari Cooper via trade from the Cleveland Browns, so maybe they get him a couple targets in this game, but I wouldn't expect too many as he just got there. I think the Bills here win at home, 27-14. Now we got the Bengals at the Browns. It's our first divisional matchup of the week. The Bengals on the road here to the Battle of Ohio. They won last week against the Giants on a Sunday night game. Very much needed win for them. I think Joe Burrow, even though he's getting pressured in the pocket, he's getting good at buying time and finding where he needs to go. I think the key for this team, for the Bengal offense, is to rely on the running game in the middle part of the season to get back to 500. I think they do that against the Browns team who traded away their top receiver, their quarterback, obviously a lot of question marks there, and the defense who isn't as elite as they were last year, potentially because they're always on the field. It's hard to just make stops and be productive when you're always having to be on the field. So I think the Bengals here on the road go into Cleveland and win 29-16. Got the Texans at the Packers. This is two very good teams. Texans have only lost one game. They lost to an NFC North team, the same division the Packers are in. Packers home at Lambeau have been good all year. I think the Packers have won 4 of the last 5 matchups against the Texans. So I think this is going to be, they've only played 5 times in their history. This will be the 6th meeting. I think the Texans come in here, and I'm looking for this defense of the Texans to pull out, to send some heat to Jordan Love and the Packers, as they're currently one of the teams that allow the fewest pressure rates. The Green Bay Packers are, so very good up front there. Texans also, the game they lost, they were struggling to protect Stroud. I think Nico Collins is still out. However, you have Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and CJ Stroud is utilizing his tight ends as well. Joe Mixon was back from injury last week. Big boost there. I think he may be the key to this game too, as I think the Texans can exploit the rush defense of the Packers. I think this goes to their advantage, and I think in the end, I think the Texans play a little bit more sound football, as the Packers have lost a game at home against the Vikings earlier in the year due to a slow start. So if the road team here can commit no turnovers, or no turnovers or less turnovers than the Packers, I think they can win. I think the Texans can beat the Packers here 34-30. Continue now. We got the Dolphins at the Colts. Dolphins had a bye week last week. Actually won a game before going into the bye, so they're feeling good. They're going to come into Indianapolis and be motivated, be inspired. Then the Colts at home, I think Anthony Richardson is cleared to return, but even if he doesn't, I think Joe Flacco is just as good enough of an option to make sound plays, manage the game, and Jonathan Taylor, I think, who's been out the last 2 weeks, could make his return to this game too, which would be huge for the Colts. Even without Taylor, I think the Colts should be favored in this game, and I think they win here at home 25-19. Lions at the Vikings. Now this is going to be probably the matchup of the week, other than that Texans-Packers game. Vikings still undefeated. Lions coming off of a roaring victory. I think the Lions. I think this will be your upset alert of the week. Because I think the Lions here, the Vikings will be favored at home, undefeated obviously, coming off of a bye. The Lions are hot. I think it's an upset because it's hard to play in Minnesota. Like if the Minnesota were going at Detroit, it'll be hard to play in Detroit. I think the Lions just fly around. They lost Aiden Hutchinson for the season, big loss for them. They just gave Alec McNeil a max extension. He had a big game last week as well. I think they come get after Sam Darnold and the quarterback here, as the Vikings rely on a play-action run game, and they have great weapons. But if this play-action run game sees Sam Darnold uncomfortable and throwing kind of inaccurate passes, then I can see the Lions taking this home. Uh, Also, this would be the same key for the Vikings to beat the Lions as they establish a run and Jared Goff goes play action mode and picks apart opposing defenses. This is going to be a good matchup and fun one to watch. I do think the Lions prevail on the road, though. I think they win 33-24 over the Vikings. Eagles at the Giants, another division matchup. Eagles won last week, won by 4, was off my score prediction. The Giants lost to the Bengals at home, another home game for them now. I think they've lost all of their home games so far this year. Very tough sledding. It's just, I don't think the Daniel Jones is their answer at quarterback. He's had a lot of inaccuracy struggles, a lot of open receivers, can't make routine throws. And the Eagles here are not going to come in and let them take advantage, give the Giants any life, as they got their 2 offensive receiving threats back last week, and it paid off big time with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think the Eagles continue to go off that momentum, and they have Saquon Barkley in the backfield playing against his former team. This is, you can say, the revenge game of the week. Saquon Barkley returning to New York. I expect him to get booed, but I expect him to have the last laugh, as I think the Eagles beat the Giants here 28-12 on the road. Now the Raiders at the Rams. I think the Rams have won 5 of the last 6 against the Raiders here. I think the Raiders are also one of those teams. They just traded Devontae Adams to the Jets. There's talk about Max Crosby being traded, which I don't think they do. But you never know. You know, they have reason to be frustrated. The organization lacking quarterback, lacking consistency and identity on offense. Rams team coming off a bye, and I think they have one of the best backfields. Although they haven't won many games, the Kyron Williams is going to be the key piece here, running the ball down the throat. And I think Cooper Kupp is scheduled to return for the Rams. And I think I favor Kupp matchup over Jack Jones. So I think the Rams here will win at home over the Raiders, 24-23. They have the Panthers at the Commanders. Commanders, tough loss last week to the Ravens. But they competed. They stuck in there with them to the end. The Panthers coming off a division loss, now at Washington. Washington has all the right. This could be a trap game for the Commanders. They can't take the Panthers lightly. As yes, they allow a lot of rushing yards, but the Commanders maybe need to focus on the rushing attack, as they couldn't really get much done on the ground last week against the Ravens. I think they take advantage of that here. Terry McLaurin's having one of the best starts to a season in his career. I think he already has 4 or 5 receiving touchdowns. Usually he averages like 4 or 5 a year, so it's good to see that for him. And I think this Commanders offense continues to soar. They need to limit the mistakes though. So I think the Commanders win at home 26-17 over the Panthers. Now we have the Chiefs at the Niners, the primetime game in the middle of the day, America's game of the week. Chiefs, also the other undefeated team. I have the other undefeated team dropping their game to the Lions and the Vikings. On the road at San Francisco here, the Chiefs still hampered by injuries on their skill positions. But I think that there's just something about this defense that's not going to give up points. They do play a lot better at home. They play good on the road too. And it's going to be a challenge, as the 49ers are coming off of an explosive offensive performance last week with Kittle and Deebo Samuel all contributing, even Brandon Ayuk down the field. And don't forget Juwan Jennings. Jordan Mason, their backup running back, I think is nursing an injury. So look for their 3rd string running back to be playing in this game. And it's going to be a matchup of 2 all-pro linebackers by the end of the year, Nick Bolton and Fred Warner. So I'm excited to see this. It's going to be a very great game to watch. One of the top games of Week 7. I think the Chiefs go into Levi Stadium, and I think they get the win here. I can see the Chiefs just being more clutch in the moments in which you need to be. So I think the Chiefs here win on the road, 29-26. Now we have Sunday night football. We have the Jets at the Steelers. Steelers hosting their 2nd Sunday night football game. The Jets just acquired Devontae Adams and bolstered that passing attack. And their running game looked better too last week in the loss against the Bills. I think the Steelers are not going to be as easy to run against. But I expect the Jets to do this as a lot of attention is going to be on their receivers. I think there's going to be a lot of too high looks, as they say, like basically daring you to run the ball. But if the Jets can't get out of their own way and committing self-inflicting bad penalties, like Javon Kinlaw, 2 bad penalties last week against the Bills that cost them a lot of yards, I can see them losing this game, and mostly in part because I can't see the Steelers losing another primetime game at home, but they fully can if the Jets are firing on all cylinders and not shooting themselves in the foot, as the Steelers are usually a more disciplined team, but just with fewer weapons on offense. Usually it's their defense that's able to carve out games. But Justin Fields has played well. This will be a good matchup here. Jets at the Steelers. I think the Steelers win here, 31-25 at home. I think the Jets still have a lot of work to do, and they need this win a lot. They almost should have won last week, you argue, but I think the Steelers prevail at home this time, 31-25. Now we have a doubleheader on Monday night this week. Been a handful of doubleheaders on Monday night so far this season. The Ravens at the Buccaneers is the first matchup. I think this is going to be a great matchup of two good defenses, but I think it turns into an offensive scoring fest. I can see the Ravens, Lamar Jackson connecting with this big tight ends, as Buccaneers have struggled to defend against tight ends, other than Levante David, of course. And then you have the Buccaneers receivers against this Ravens secondary that gives up quite a bit of yards, usually because they're stopping the run. So most teams will pass against them. And then the matchup of the week is this Ravens rush attack with Derrick Henry against the Buccaneers front seven, who's one of the best in the league, alongside with the Ravens front seven. I love how Baker Mayfield has been playing, but Lamar Jackson has played, honestly, potentially even better since starting 0-2. This would be a great matchup, I feel, and an entertaining one early on Monday night. So I think the Ravens win at home. On the road here, I think they win 41-28 over the Buccaneers. And the second matchup is the Chargers at the Cardinals. The Chargers have beat the Cardinals 5 of their last 6 matchups. Chargers coming off of a nice big win on the road against the Broncos. I don't think they went on the road here against a Cardinals team that has had some disappointing outings the last couple of weeks. Obviously, they beat San Francisco 2 weeks ago, but lost pretty handedly last week to the Green Bay Packers on the road. They need to show some life. Their defense needs to stop somebody especially on the running attack. This is a good test to do it against, as the Chargers are pin you down and try to run the ball at you. I think they're doing that to get Justin Herbert some more help, and they can hit you through the pass attack too, which this Cardinals defense also hasn't defended the best. So I can see the Cardinals here in a much needed win, or much needed home win. But I actually don't see them pulling this off. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is also out for this Cardinals offense. James Conner is their primary weapon, and Trey McBride, can't sleep on that tight end. But I think the Chargers are able to limit them. They're going to get their chunks of yards, but I think they limit them here. And I think unless the Cardinals as an offense converts in the red zone, I see them falling up short here at home. I see the Chargers winning on the road 30-22. That wraps up week 7. Only 2 teams on byes. Next week, I believe there's no teams on byes, so that's unusual there. Usually when the first slate of bye weeks happen, it happens every week until after Thanksgiving. But switching it up this year, NFL, they do what they please. So other than that, though, those players out there have families too. They're human. This game is not for the faint of heart, actually, I would say, but appreciate what they do. Gotta appreciate those guys, and wish nothing but blessings, and for everyone to stay healthy, and for the ones who are injured to get healthy fast. There's more to life than just football. But anyway, enjoy week 7, ladies and gentlemen. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. Later out.